Hello, welcome back to This Podcast Takes Tokens. I am Ryan, joined by my brother Derek. What are we going to
Hello.
talk about today? What are we going to talk? We're going to talk about, I will tell you in just a minute. First, we are going to go over our. We're going to hear
Icebreaker
my
time.
dog again. He's become a staple on here, where he's outside on the back patio and he's wanting in. And as
Unofficial
soon as I get done
mascot.
recording, I'll let him in. Otherwise, he'll be louder than he is now. So, the question that I had asked you last week, our icebreaker question for the episode, is what was your favorite restaurant when you were a kid?
Favorite restaurant growing up. I mean,
Yeah.
it's gotta be obvious. It had it all. It had music that you could pick. It had games. They had cool stuff you could get with your meal. They had a salad bar that you could load down with as much blue cheese or ranch as you wanted. I mean, Pizza Hut, that was where it was at. You go to Pizza Hut, you got the buffet, all the pizza you want, whatever kind you want. You can load up at the salad bar with all the garbage parts of the salad that you absolutely love that have absolutely no health benefits. Go hit the jukebox, throw some quarters in, listen to some tunes, hit the arcade machines. It's a good time. And then they always had like a really cool kids toy you could get, like the little what was it, Land Before Time had the puppets, and then they had
Oh,
the
yeah.
VHS for the X-Men movies, and I think they did something for Ninja Turtles, I think, for the first one. So yeah, Pizza
Yeah, I
Hut for
think
me.
so. Yeah. I
How about
mean,
you?
so mine was actually, it ended up being a pizza place. It wasn't Pizza Hut. Now,
No?
it was it was going to be McDonald's. The more I thought
Oh,
about it,
okay.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I used to love going to McDonald's as a kid. I remember having a birthday party there, and they did serve pizza at one point. Not many people remember that
Oh, yeah, yeah.
back in
The
the early
McPizza.
'90s. Yeah, um, but I changed my mind earlier this week, and I decided it was a local pizza joint here in the community I live in. It's no longer a business, but it was Royal Inn Pizza.
Oh, yeah, Royal Inn. That was good.
Yeah, and it was a little pizzeria that they, well, it wasn't little when we were growing up.
Yeah, it was
It
big.
was like a big pizzeria. They had like the full on like dark dingy arcade in the back. I don't
Yeah.
know if you remember that or not. Had all these different just different games back there, and I remember they had a pinball machine. What was that? It was uh
I don't remember.
now I can't remember what the theme was on it. Maybe it wasn't a Star Wars theme, but anyway, they had all that. They did have the salad bar. They had, you would walk in, and it wasn't back then. It wasn't like a pizza buffet. Like somebody came to the table and they would ask you what kind of pizza you wanted, and you ordered it.
Mm.
And like all the tables like sat up, like all the booths set up, like you walked in, and then you kind of walked down, and there was like a level, and then like all around the perimeter, I don't know if you remember this, all around the perimeter of the restaurant where the booths were at, and
Yeah.
they sat up like an extra like foot and a half
Raised.
off the ground. You had to like step up onto there.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. I loved it. I loved going over there. I'd eat a little pizza. I'd go in the arcade. There'd be kids back there. Everybody be, I'm sure there's people making out and everything back there. But it was fun. And then they at one point,
Pizza
oh
Hut 1.
yeah, well, 15 or 20 years ago, they ended up leaving that location. It may have been a little bit longer than that, maybe 25 years ago. They left that location, and they ended up building like a smaller building, um, a different part in a different place in town, and it just wasn't the same. They still had like Pac-Man, and I think like Cruisin' USA or something for the arcade
Oh,
games, but
yeah.
like there was like, I don't know, it just wasn't the same as that old place. The cups, they were like those plastic red, like
Yeah. Those are
uh
the Pizza Hut cups.
yeah, that's what they
Yeah.
looked like. Yeah, yeah.
See, I think
So
I think we had two different experiences whenever I came to town. I think you got to go to the Royal Inn Pizza a lot more than I did, because whenever I came into town, we'd always go hit the Pizza Hut. I don't know if that
yeah,
was like I got to make the call, or if that was, we got more kids, so let's go to the
could
place
be.
where they can load up at the buffet.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
As a parent now, I totally see it as I'm going to take them to the place where I get the most bang for my buck,
Right.
which is going to be the Pizza Hut. All you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
eat.
sure. Sure. Yep. exactly.
But
Yeah.
I think we did Royal. Whenever we did Royal Inn, when I was there, I remember we always picked it up to go, and we ate it back at the house a
Mm-hmm.
lot more.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, I don't remember that one as much
Yeah.
as the
Yeah,
Pizza
I
Hut
remember
one.
it. I think in that I'm trying to think what's in there now. I think it's like a I think it's like a payday loan or something,
Yeah,
sadly.
it's like a
But
Goodwill at one point, wasn't it?
yeah, it was. It switched hands a lot.
Hmm.
But anyway. Yeah, those are our favorite restaurants when we were growing up. What was yours? Let us know. Get in the comments right now. Let us know what your
Absolutely.
favorite restaurant was. You can also drop us a line in the comments after this recording's done, and we will read it on the air at a later time. But yeah, we're going to get into the show. We'll tell you what it is right after this.
See y'all in a minute. Your local video store card.
A comic book in your back pocket.
Games with no tutorials.
Music you had to discover.
And drinking water straight from the hose.
These are the things us millennials remember fondly. We are the Jennings
Brothers.
brothers.
Join us after the streetlights come on,
As we race our bikes from the top of the hill,
right down memory lane.
exchange those quarters, because this
This
podcast
podcast
takes
takes
tokens. All right, and today we are talking another movie. We're going to be talking about. I can't do a drum roll. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? It's what we're going to be talking about. Released on June 22nd, 1988. Had a budget. So I've got conflicting reports on this budget. Some places on the internet
No.
say it was 50 million. Some places say it was 70 million. I never could quite nail that down. So I'm
I
sure
always
it
pull
was
mine
some.
from IMDb. So what did they say?
What did it say? I think they said 70 million. I'm pretty sure they said 70 million.
Okay.
Well, we'll take IMDb as gospel when it comes to stuff like that.
I mean, I
So
think that should be our de facto from
yeah,
now
that's
on. We'll
true.
just
That's
go with
true.
what IMDb says,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
says
We'll
70 million.
70 million. Budget is $70 million. Earnings, I'll give you the US earnings first. What do you think the earnings were for this? You're looking at it right now, I'm sure.
I'm looking
You're
at
on
it
there
right
right now.
now.
Okay. US earnings were just
I was going to
north of
quote you to the dollar.
Yes, don't even do that, you jerk. No. US earnings were just north of $156 million worldwide. This movie made a whopping 329 million bucks. I would
That's a hit.
say this was a hit. I
This
loved
was a
it.
hit.
I love
Yeah,
this
it was a lot
movie.
of fun.
I
Although
haven't
I
watched it
remember
in
this one
so
coming out
long.
in the 90s. I feel like I thought this was like a 91 movie. And then I
Yeah.
saw, like you said, like what, 88? And I was like, wow,
Mhm.
that's like so much earlier than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or directed. There we go. Okay. I don't know how to
Yeah,
follow
sorry,
up
back
that.
on
So I'm
track.
sorry. Yeah. Directed by Robert Zemeckis, one of my favorite
Yes.
directors, of course, known for Back to the Future, Forrest Gump, among other things. Produced. Did you see who produced this?
It was Spielberg, wasn't it?
Spielberg produced this. How can you go
Yeah.
wrong with Zemeckis and Spielberg?
That's a perfect combo.
Oh my gosh, this movie was, like I said, I hadn't seen this for years. I bet I was every bit of probably 5 years old when I watched this last. And this movie this isn't just a good like Disney movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great just all around noir film, right?
Yeah.
Like it, man. Like I know it's got the tunes and everything in there, but then you've just got your mystery surrounding everything. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? You know, it's right there in the title, and it's just it's so good. It's so good. What'd you think about it?
I loved it. I enjoyed it. This is always a fun movie to watch growing up. I enjoyed watching it, whenever I was younger. Even in my I want to say like 20s. We watched it a few times just hanging out with friends because it's so much fun. And the characters are it's now this movie came out in 88, and I don't remember if it was geared towards kids, but I feel like it was geared towards kids. Like this was like a family style movie. Yeah, because this is rated
Hmm.
PG. So
Yeah.
this was billed as like a family movie, but there's a lot of adult undertones here that
Oh, don't
yeah.
undertones. I mean,
Subtext,
Jessica
bold face
Rabbit.
subtext.
Like, what were they thinking with Jessica Rabbit?
Yeah,
You know?
definitely. I mean, I get it, but I think
Yeah.
the reason why they got away with it is because they kept the language at bay.
Oh, sure, sure.
They never actually really showed anything,
Mm.
and then the use of like patty cake in place of anything that would have
That
been
was the
too
funniest.
lurid.
That was the
Yeah.
funniest thing when they were doing that. Because, like I said, I had forgotten most of this movie.
Oh,
When
really?
they were doing that, and I'm like, when he is explaining it to Roger. What is the main character's name in this? The guy, I can't
Eddie
remember what his name is. Eddie. When Eddie is explaining
Valiant.
it to Roger, and yes, Valiant, and Roger's like, patty cake, no, Jessica. And I'm thinking, like, this is going to be super lewd. And then he's like, oh, I got pictures. And they're literally playing patty cake.
Yeah.
I lost it. I lost it. It was so funny. So funny.
Yeah. It's like I said, that's what makes it so funny to watch even as an adult. Like this, I feel like this film you can watch it from, I'd say probably like 8 or 9, and I mean it might be, yeah, it depends on your parenting style, but you
Yeah.
could probably get away with watching it from like 8 or 9 all the way through being an adult and having your own kids, and
Oh, sure.
it's a totally different experience with each viewing. And it transcends that, like I think it transcends age in that way, which is kind of what they try and do with a lot of these movies that are live action kids movies that are taking themselves a little more seriously, as they're trying to bridge that gap and be a movie that everybody can watch. And I feel like this almost pulls it off.
Hmm.
And I only say almost because you're definitely not going to sit down and watch this with like a 4-year old, even though a 4-year old would sit and watch it and probably enjoy it to some extent. At least
Hmm.
the animation part of it, wouldn't
Sure.
understand it, but would enjoy it. And you may be planting some subliminal or subconscious seeds. I don't know how parenting psychology works, but I probably wouldn't show it to my 5-year old, even though I think we did show it to my 5-year old now that I think about it. But yeah, this movie
Yeah.
it's the perfect mix, like you said. It's the perfect mix of like noir and a little pulp and some cartoons and puppeteering. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, great blend of just the animation, puppeteering, and live action for one. It's just
Hmm.
it's amazing that they were able to pull this off. And I was looking at
Oh,
some of the
yeah.
behind the scenes stuff on it, and it's just crazy that the lengths that they went to make this work. I mean, one guy described it. He described it perfectly. He said, we are making a live action film at the same time that we're making an animated film,
Yep.
at the same time that we are developing the technology to make both of these films happen." And I was like, yeah, that's about how that goes. That's right.
I
He's like,
mean,
talk about jumping out of the airplane and assembling your parachute on the way down.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I had that in my notes. Like some of these scenes where the tunes are like knocking into things, and
Yes.
and they're interacting with the real life environment, and somehow with Disney magic, you know, they were able to make it look like they were actually in this world,
Yeah.
you know, and it's done so well. It is so believable. And I mean, if there's any universe in a movie that I would want to live in,
Be this
this
one.
would be a very interesting universe to live in, right?
Yeah.
I
It would
mean,
be. It'd be fun
you've got,
for sure.
oh yeah, yeah, all the tunes just living amongst everybody else. It's just yeah,
Now
it's
I
and
tell
like
you,
it's
uh, there's a movie that they did more recently that I feel like is almost like a spiritual successor to
Mm.
this, and the fact that they blended animation and live action so well. And did you see Detective Pikachu?
Yes, I did
Yes.
watch that. I watched that with Harper. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
very much
You're
so.
right.
But I mean,
Hmm.
I feel like they more so nailed the um, family range as far as
Oh,
being able
sure.
to watch this across a wider range and not have the same I don't want to say problems, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
undertones that this one happens
Hmm.
to have. I feel like yeah, there was a little emphasis on Miss Rabbit there that
Yeah.
maybe we didn't
Yeah.
need. But at the
I.
same time, I mean, that's kind of like that's noir. That's
It
part of it.
is.
And
Yeah.
I
You've
don't
got to
think you
have some.
if you didn't have Jessica Rabbit, I don't think you could qualify this as
Yeah.
noir.
Yeah.
It'd be
I mean, you
very
watch
close.
any noir film, I
Yeah,
mean, Chinatown, you've got like Faye
you gotta
Dunaway's
have a
in that,
bombshell.
and yeah. So yeah, I mean, she's there for a reason, and I think
Yeah,
it is funny that Roger is with her, and Ed even asks, he's like, why are you with him? And she's like, he makes me
it makes me
laugh.
laugh. Yeah,
Which
it's pretty. That's
okay,
pretty spot on. That's pretty
yeah,
like. I mean, you see that a lot, and
yeah,
it makes sense in real life. Like
hmm,
that's kind of a thing,
yeah,
and girls dig a good sense of humor.
yeah, yep.
Gotta give it to them, and we try.
Which, right? Fail a lot. Usually I'll say a
Yeah.
joke and Mindy just kind of stares at me. And I'm like, it was funny. And she's like, okay.
But inside she's swooning.
That's right. Oh, Ryan. Yeah.
Can't
Anyway,
let
Who
him know.
Framed Roger Rabbit here? That beginning scene is just excellent, top notch. It is
Yes.
so like Looney Tunes
Yeah.
running through the kitchen, like I was laughing watching this. Like that 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 part where he's like, I think he's Roger's up against the wall and then he looks and sees the knives coming at him and he's just like,
Yeah.
ah, yeah. Just all the little things like that were so funny. And I don't know if it's just my sense of humor has changed as I've gotten older, or maybe it's uh I don't know, maybe Looney Tunes wasn't as funny. I don't know. But like when I used to watch Looney Tunes, because I used to watch it a lot, I never thought it was like I never laughed out loud in scenes, right?
Hmm.
I would think things were humorous, but like I would watch it because there wasn't anything else on. But like this was in the same vein as that. And there was just so many funny parts in that little like 5 minute scene in the beginning. And I'm like, I need to go back and watch some Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Like maybe my thoughts of my tastes have changed on this, but
There's a
yeah.
specific Looney Tunes movie I remember watching growing up. I can't remember the name of it. I tried looking it up once before and the name escapes me, but I want to say it came out in like the late 70s.
Hmm.
And it's just a series, it's a full-length movie that they put out and it's a series of short things like all the main Looney Tunes characters get highlighted in all these different ways, and they have like a Duck Dodgers thing with Marvin the Martian, and they've got the Daffy Duck playing Robin Hood, and he's got like the whole bow thing and the staff, and he's doing all that, and then Bugs is in there, and I think he tries to go and he makes the wrong turn at Albuquerque, and he ends up in the middle of like a bullfighting pit. And there's Elmer Fudd singing like "Fly to the Valkyrie." But it was one of my favorite things growing up watching was this old Looney Tunes film, and if you're gonna go back and watch Looney Tunes, I highly recommend that one. I feel like that was one of the best displays of Looney Tunes in this, and it covers the whole breadth of all the different characters. And you got some
Mm.
kind of highs and lows, and there's some really good like fourth wall humor in that. Like there's a section with like Daffy Duck where he's getting in a fight with the animator, and the animator starts drawing different things on him, and eventually ends up almost completely erasing Daffy Duck. And he's just like his mouth at
Is
some
this just
point.
Bill, right?
Yeah, yeah, and he's just like
Yes,
talking
I do
smack.
remember
Yeah,
this. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, it was just hilarious, but I can't remember the name
yeah,
of it now. It
yeah.
escapes me, but
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
that
Yeah,
was one of my favorites growing up. But
yeah.
back to this, yeah, the beginning animation scene that was That was fun. And I remember, I think even Batman had one. There were several movies that came out right around this time where they did these Roger Rabbit shorts in front of the full length, like, um, feature film that wasn't like a Roger Rabbit film. It was just like I said, I think they did one in front of Batman because it came out in '88 around the same
Mhm.
time, and a couple other movies, and they
Oh,
ran
just
these
like a
little,
promotional thing
yeah,
for the
for Who
movie.
Framed Roger
Yeah.
Rabbit. So it
Okay.
was just like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little like
Yeah.
4 or 5 minute animated film. And if you go on
Mhm.
Disney Plus and you watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit there, and
Mhm.
you go to the extras, they have another one of them that I think ran on the DVD for Who Framed
Okay.
Roger Rabbit. But yeah, so there was a few of them that they ran with it. I can't remember all the different, but I just remember seeing a couple of different movies and they had it at the beginning. I'm thinking, oh man, this is great, you know. And then
Mhm.
it just kind of went away. They stopped doing it. But and then that transition they do from whenever the refrigerator falls on his head animated and the door opens and suddenly we're in the real world and it's like a real
Yes.
refrigerator that blends
Yep.
in pretty seamlessly to that
Mhm.
animated scene. I thought that was a great transition, and then
Oh yeah.
it just brings you right into the movie, and suddenly you're ready to go. And you've got the legs, guy on stilts walking with
Yep.
the legs in the background is like the
Yep.
mom woman or whatever.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
great. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. And I, I don't think it was the producer, but the guy that's sitting there, he's like, just starts talking to Roger, like,
The
and
director, yeah,
the director, was it the director? Yeah,
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 he's
we
yelling at him because he can't get
need
stars.
stars, not yeah,
Yeah, not birds,
yeah, not
stars.
birds. We need
Yeah,
stars, and then of course, Herman's like, ah, come on, Roger, we've done this
yeah,
how many times? Which that was really funny because
yeah.
you see him, and you think, oh, it's this baby.
Boy,
Well,
the
no, it's this
baby.
grown man.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. I
like
think at one
that's
point he says he's like, "I'm 40 years old, trapped in his body."
yes.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, yeah, it was really good. It was really good.
Yeah. So what was probably like the of the animated gags that they pull, like, I don't want to say gags, but the animation interacting with the real world. What
Mhm.
was probably one of your favorite displays of that interaction? If you can
I
pull
so
one real
it
quick.
it was I think it was the when Judge Doom first takes the shoe and
Oh,
puts it in the vat, and
the
the
dip.
way he does that, and it just starts like the vat starts changing colors
Yeah,
like as he's sticking it in there. um that was really cool to me. And anytime they had any of that stuff, because like the the liquid that he had, like I can't remember what it was, like paint thinner or turpentine or
turpentine.
yeah,
Yeah, a couple other things.
um, like that was all like real,
Yeah,
and then when it interacted with any of the animation, just the way it did
melted.
that. Um, and another one was, I know you asked me for one. I'm going to give you two.
No, that's fine. Give me two.
The other one was when they had the holes,
Oh yeah, the holes
which
were
was,
cool.
oh, they were really funny. Like it's a box of
Yeah,
holes, and then
yeah.
they slap
Portable
them up.
holes.
Yeah, portable holes. But like, they slap it on something, and then they like stick their hand through it or whatever. And it was
Hmm.
that was really cool the way that they had figured out how to make that look, believable.
Convincing. Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, yeah. What about you?
Yeah, that's pretty. I think I was thinking of where Eddie is. Roger comes in after he's been framed.
Hmm.
Roger's in Eddie's apartment, and he hears the weasels at the door, and he's got to think quickly. And then the weasels come in, and they're ransacking the place looking for
Hmm.
Roger. And Eddie's got him in the water that he's doing his
Hmm.
laundry in. And he keeps popping back up out of the water. And at one point, he pops up and he spits out water. And he actually spits out like actual
Oh
water goes spitting
yes.
out of his mouth. And I think a little bit
Uh-huh.
of like hits him in the face or something, like hits
Yeah.
Eddie in the face or something. And that was a great little, like, just seamless blending of the two worlds,
Hmm.
which I was watching one of the behind the scenes. And that was like they developed a puppet, like a little animatronic thing for that. And he would push it up and down in the
Hmm.
water or whatever, and it had like a little spigot and it would spit out water. And then they just animated over that. So
Super.
they,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
animated over the top of that. And it was the same thing with Baby Herman, you know, like that scene where he's in the stroller outside of Eddie's
Mhm.
apartment with his, I guess his wife. I don't know who his caretaker, whoever that
I
was.
think it
I
was
hope it
like
wasn't his wife.
it wasn't his wife, but I think it was like it was almost like a girlfriend, I
Yeah,
think. Because he doesn't treat her well. He's like smacking her
no, yeah,
rear and and all this
sweetheart and
stuff.
all that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So that whole part, he's got the cigar the whole time, and it's a real
Mhm.
cigar, and it's like smoking and everything. That's like this little like wireframe robot arm that's holding out the cigar and moving it, and they've got this whole contraption built around this puppeteer's arm,
Mm.
and his arm acts as that wireframe, and every way that he moves his arm, that wireframe moves in response. So he's animating the cigar for
Mhm.
Baby Herman, and then the animators just go in and they animate over the top of that Baby Herman holding the cigar and doing the whole thing. And that's crazy to me that they
It's
thought about that.
incredible. Like
Yeah.
this movie is just for that
Oh
is
yeah.
worth watching again and again, I think. Like cuz this is
No
one I
CGI.
no CGI. This is
No.
one I will go back and watch again, you know.
No,
It
absolutely.
is it's just yeah, it is like movie magic.
Oh yeah.
Like when they talk about movie magic, like it is like at the
It's a display
peak
of
of
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's just it's so good. It makes the movie so much better, and it just I don't know. I can't heap enough praises on on that part of this movie because
Yeah.
that is it's done so well.
And all the little Easter eggs, like I mean, scattered throughout this
Hmm.
film. I mean, no, with Easter right around the corner, no pun intended, rabbits
Yeah,
and eggs and all that, but
sure, sure.
Easter eggs just scattered throughout this whole film. Like you got like Betty Boop in the club, and you got the
Hmm.
penguins. I think those are the same penguins from what is it? Mary Poppins that
Yep, they
what's his
are.
name
Uh huh.
danced with. Yeah, they're
Yep.
serving everybody.
Hmm.
That whole
Dick Van
thing with
Dyke dance.
Donald
Yeah.
Duck and Daffy Duck going back
Yeah.
and forth on the pianos, that was great. That was
Yes.
probably one of my
Oh,
favorite things was watching
that
those
was
two
funny. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're just both so like cantankerous and they're just
Yeah.
like going at each other.
Yeah.
And then Donald gets like super eat. Was it Donald or was it Daffy? I
It was
think it was
Donald that
Donald.
finished it off. Yeah.
Yeah, that finished it off
Yeah.
with the cannon. Yeah, and then they just pull them both off stage. It was
Which
great.
is
I love that.
so out of character for Donald Duck, like to be
No, really,
violent like that. I think I like I
not
could see
that.
more.
Well, do you know why they developed Donald Duck?
No.
So originally, like they just had Mickey Mouse, and I think
Hmm.
Minnie had come along at
Yeah.
that point, and they were putting out all these Mickey shorts, and the animators were like, "Look, people are getting tired of watching Mickey be a do-gooder and do all these different things and like always come in and save the day and always be the hero. Let's have him be a little mischievous. Let's have him do these little things." Like they kept pitching ideas of different things that they wanted him to do. And Walt was like, "No, like Mickey is he's good. He's just
Straight
pure.
arrow.
You
Yeah.
can't have him doing these like things." And so then the animators, or maybe it was Disney, I can't remember which one, somebody came up with the idea of, well, we need a foil. And so they created Donald Duck to be like Mickey, but the heel of it all. Like I think the original short that they were doing, the farmer lady or the gardener or whatever, whoever it was, a mother hen, I think, wanted some help collecting her eggs or something like that.
Mm.
And they wanted Mickey to fake a stomach ache, like he didn't want to help, so he was gonna fake a stomach ache, and and Walt was like, "No, Mickey wouldn't lie. That's not who Mickey is." And so they came up with Donald Duck, and that was the first scene was Donald Duck faking a stomach ache to get out of helping her collect these eggs, and chaos ensues. And I think
Yeah.
Mickey
Yeah.
ends up saving the day again. But that was the whole original intention of Daffy Duck or Donald Duck was to be kind of the foil to Mickey, to be the mischievous one, to get into to be the scamp, if you will.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
yeah, so I feel like that fits his character. I mean, it's
Okay.
it's
Well.
definitely like it's definitely like amped up to the nth
Yeah.
degree, but he's always the devil on Disney's shoulder, if you will, and
Oh,
Mickey's the
sure.
angel.
Okay. Okay. Well, that makes sense. I wasn't aware that that's what his purpose was originally. So
Yeah.
that does make sense, I guess. But yeah, that was a good scene. I was impressed by how many different characters they were able to like procure the
Oh
licensing
yeah,
for to put in this movie.
yeah,
You,
because you got not only the Warner Brothers and like Mel Blanc, like Mel Blanc's voice, he lent his voice to this film. He did
hmm
voice work for this
Yep.
film. And the Disney characters, you got Tex Avery's characters in there too, like with the
Yep.
old Betty Boop and the Drippy Dog as the
Yep.
elevator guy and everything.
hmm
Yeah, it's just a great like bringing all these classic characters. I mean,
Yeah.
you couldn't do that today. I don't think you could do
No.
that. You couldn't.
No.
No.
No. There's no way. These studios I feel like are more like, especially with streaming services and stuff now. It's
Mm.
like, we can't, like, we've got to keep our own intellectual
Squeeze every dollar.
properties, yeah,
Yeah.
for ourselves, and not, let's not collaborate and just try to make something fun for John Q. Public. But
Yeah.
this is the '80s, and we had that, and you know,
I gotta say though, the rewatching this movie, this is the first time that I really paid attention to the whole Cloverfield or Cloverleaf plot that they had going on. Before, I never really considered it, like the whole
mhm.
land grab and
Oh sure.
building the highway and what is it, geopolitics or whatever, or not
Mhm.
geopolitics, but politics that were involved in the behind the scenes and all that. That they were, I get not the subtext, but the underlying plot that's driving the whole thing. I never considered that before, and then I'm watching it this time. I'm like, it's everywhere. It's all throughout. How did I miss it before? I bet it never stuck with me. I
Yeah.
just never
Yeah.
connected it for whatever reason. And then this time I noticed it, like it right up at the beginning. There's Cloverfield here. There's Cloverfield here. It's being talked about here and here. And I'm like, how did I miss this before? But
I need. eh, But you mentioned that I hadn't really, I hadn't paid much attention to that. Like I knew that was the
uh,
underlying, theme, but like I hadn't really
yeah,
noticed there was a bunch of. So I need to go back and watch it again and look for that.
yeah,
Which this whole thing it makes the judge even more sinister, right?
yeah.
That all this is going on, and at first, which kudos to Christopher Lloyd, like he knocks
Fantastic.
this role out of the park,
God, yeah,
absolutely does. And you're thinking that he's just this vicious, vindictive, person that doesn't like tunes,
generic
and
bad guy.
just
Yeah,
just wants to kill him. And he ends up being a Toon himself,
yeah.
and he still wants to
Which that part I didn't understand.
destroy
Even
all
on
of
this rewatch, I'm like, you are
them.
a Toon yourself. Why are you
Hmm.
wanting to destroy all the Toons? Like it doesn't, like a self-hating Toon. It doesn't make any sense to me. I
Yeah,
just felt
I
like I
think
needed a little backstory on that.
I feel like he was just wanting like to be maybe like the best Toon, or like the only Toon left, or something, like something to make himself more like, I look how powerful I am. I'm the only one here, or whatever.
Man, maybe. But he's
But I don't know.
disguised as a
Yeah,
person the whole time.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
I
I
don't know.
was
That
I
one
was
kind of bugged me.
reading about this,
Oh, okay.
and apparently, well, not that section of it. I'm sorry,
Oh, okay.
but I was reading about Christopher Lloyd playing Judge Doom. When he was reading the script, when he first read the introduction of the character, he figured out that he was a Toon.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And another thing is apparently he never. I'm trying to think of when we've seen his actual, not his Toon eyes, but his actual eyes. Apparently, he never blinks in the whole movie. Christopher Lloyd doesn't, and
I could see that.
like just to show, it's if you're really looking, like, oh, it's a mask, or whatever, and
Yeah.
he's, which when I was first watching this, I was like, gosh, that jawline
Yeah. It's very
looks
sharp.
looks very sharp, and yeah, I can see
Yeah.
like the makeup lines and everything on it.
Yep.
But then I'd
And then the
forgotten that he was a
teeth look like
Toon.
they were painted on.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And then when you find out he's a Toon, you're like, okay. At
Yeah.
first I was thinking this is just bad makeup work.
Mhm.
And from what I could tell, it was intentional, just to kind of give you a little hint of, well, he's more than meets the eye here.
See, I was watching it knowing that he was a Toon
Hmm.
and looking at it, with these, because it's been probably 10 years since I've seen it
Yeah.
myself, and looking at it and going, oh man, that's just like I see it like he's a Toon that's painted himself to look like a real person. I
Mhm.
wonder what he looks like in his full Toon
Oh,
form.
no, you
I
never
would love to see
see
that.
you
Yeah.
never see it. You never see it. Yeah. And to find out that he's the one that
That
dropped
killed
the
Eddie's
piano,
brother.
they, which
I know.
I love that whole subplot of, Eddie's a drunk
Yeah,
because he used to have,
he's got
his brother
demons.
was his best friend. He was his partner, and then he's been killed. But I did laugh when they weren't talking to Eddie, but there was two guys talking to each other about Eddie, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Toon dropped a piano on his
Yeah,
brother's head or something." I just thought that was so funny. It's like, of course they would drop a piano on his
yeah.
head.
Like he's just gonna bounce right off. Yeah, and then
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if you're watching the movie, there's like you can see in his office all of these little like glimpses of him and his brother, like
Hmm.
pictures of them and like the police academy and being police officers in Toontown and all this other stuff, and then
Hmm.
starting their own investigation services, which I feel like, and Disney Plus has got to
Hmm.
make this prequel, and it's got to be about the Valiant brothers starting their detective agency in
Hmm.
Toontown. How has that
Yeah,
not been done yet? I guess because like
that
the
would be
characters you
fun.
can't get and everything,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you don't have to show all the. Just use the Disney characters. Who cares? Like,
Oh yeah,
or just make
yeah,
up some cartoon characters, whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Because everything
You
was a
could,
cartoon in there.
they could totally do. They could do like a little like 6 episode miniseries on
Yeah,
it. I
Valiant
think that
Brothers
would be.
Detectives.
Oh yeah, that'd be a lot of fun to watch. Pitch
Oh
that.
yeah,
Let's pitch that to him.
absolutely. I'm gonna put that in the meeting notes for next time.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Next time we have a talk with them, we'll discuss
Pitch Valiant
that.
Brothers. Just Valiant. I
Did
got a
you
question.
notice? Okay, you
Okay,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
and
Well,
you go ahead, and then I'll ask you my
all right.
question.
So my question was, Eddie's got that Toon gun right before he goes
Hmm.
into Toontown. He pulls out this gun that he got from Yosemite Sam for saving him from whatever. I couldn't read
Yeah,
the whole thing because it went by
yeah.
really fast. And he pops it open and he slides open this little thing and there's all these little like Toon bullets in there. He's like,
Yeah,
"You guys feel like getting up to some trouble or whatever?" And they all jump in the gun.
yeah.
And
Oh
then he
yeah,
fires off
yeah,
that one at the bottle and it goes up there and wah, and just chops the
yeah.
thing in half. And are the bullets reusable? Like if he fires them off, do they come back? Like can he just
I
like collect them and they get back in there?
I have to assume they do because they know him, right?
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, Eddie, it's been a while," and so I have to assume that when he fires it, they eventually like find their way back, like they can fly or whatever, and they find their way
Right.
back. But while he's in Toontown, he does run out of ammunition, and he just like
He
pitches
just
the
throws it
gun.
away. Well, I don't think he ran out because he had only used the one on the bottle, and then he
Hmm.
fired like three down that alley at the
Hmm.
guy, and they all went down, and they're like, "Which way did he go?" And then they go like the wrong direction because they're
Oh,
tunes and
sure,
they
sure,
do the
sure.
wrong thing.
Yeah.
So he had two more in the chamber, and I think he was just frustrated with it. He was like,
Hmm.
"Screw it, they're tunes,
They're
they're
just gonna do what
useless."
they want to
Yeah,
do, and they're not gonna help me out here at all.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Which I can't imagine the the tunes doing any real, because like the
Damage
whole
to
point of the whole point of the tunes is like they said you can drop like a crate of bricks on them and they just walk it off like
yeah,
they're fine, like they don't get
yeah.
hurt by anything. So I don't imagine like a tune bullet is going to be any, because like wasn't there the one part where Roger gets like filled with bullet holes and like he's just like looks like Swiss cheese and he crawls out,
I think
or am I
so.
thinking of
If I
something else?
remember.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember. Roger. I mean, Roger has a refrigerator dumped on his head, so
yeah, that too. So yeah, yeah.
it's.
Oh,
I
I'm
mean, the only thing
thinking
that
of
seems.
the other animated short that they did that was with on Disney Plus. There's the other animated short, and he goes
Okay.
through like a firing range, and he comes out the other side, and he's just like Swiss cheese, but shakes it off because he's a dude.
I'm sorry. It's so funny. It's just it's so funny, and it's like I love that they call them tunes. Like
Yeah,
they're not cartoons. They're not.
they're
I don't
tunes.
know.
It's
They're
good
tunes.
slang.
It is. It
Good
is.
slang.
It is. So the question I was going to ask you,
Yes.
when Roger goes to the movie theater, that balcony that he's sitting in, that was so nostalgic for me. Like
Oh
it
God,
reminded
yes,
me of the balcony at the old Ben Bolt that was here in town.
yes.
you know, and that's just a lost. I don't want to say a lost art, but a lost just
Small theaters. Yeah.
small theaters with those balconies
Hmm.
were just so much fun. It was so much fun to sit up in the balcony. We had our old high school, that's just a couple blocks down the street from here. Um, they've torn it down, but I remember when I went to school there, they had like a balcony in the auditorium that was, obviously up top, but you just don't see balconies very much anymore.
No,
I don't know.
no.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. It was just a small scene, but it was just so nostalgic for me. And yeah, I love that
Yeah.
scene.
See, you got to come check out a movie here. We have our theater is a Ben Bolt. It is the Wiley B&B, and it's
Mm,
part of the same family as the Ben Bolt was originally. In fact,
mhm.
they run before all the movies, they run like a trailer for the series of theaters that they are. And I
Mhm.
think the
Oh,
one you guys
sure.
have there in Chillicothe is as well as under the
Yeah.
B&B branding as well.
Yeah.
And they'll show, I'll catch it every time. Ben Bolt pops up for just like a second because they have like
Oh, it
photos of like
does.
all these
Really?
old ones. Yeah, and so like Ben
Okay.
Bolt will pop for a second. I'm like,
Well,
it brings a little tear to
so
my eyes. But they have
that.
balconies in these theaters here, so we do have a
Oh,
balcony, and that's where
okay.
the premium plush seats are. So we go
Okay.
there and we get to sit up in the balcony, and they used to come and wait on you. Like they would, when you, before the movie started, they would come and take
Mhm.
your order and serve you food and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And now it's, you go to the bar and since COVID, now you go to the bar and you
Yeah.
place your order
Yeah.
for food and they bring it to your chair now.
Mhm.
But it's still a great time. It's one of my favorite
Man.
theaters to go to.
That's cool. Yeah,
So
and I didn't realize that the Ben Bolt. I've seen it on our little things in the beginning,
yeah,
but I'm like, oh, they're just showing it because it's like tailor make it to all the local areas, or whatever.
no,
I didn't realize that was on there. So any
yeah.
of you listening
There's not
out
that
there,
many of them.
if you not that many what of
Of
the
the B&B theaters. There's only like, I think
oh
there's like
okay
less than 100 of them. There's not a
oh
whole lot of
okay
It's not a huge chain, but
okay
yeah,
well, if any of you out there are listening and you go to B&B theaters,
yeah.
that's our little claim to fame. Then the Ben Bowl Theater that comes up on there, that's our
One of us.
hometown. So
Yeah.
there's that. But well, that's neat. That's neat. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, I love that I have that here. So I have like a
Yeah.
little, like, it always brings me, like I go there, I feel a little sense of nostalgia just going there and
Hmm.
watching the movie. It feels like
Yeah.
I'm going home a little bit, and I love it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Man, that just warms my heart, man.
That, and they
That's
got good
great.
popcorn.
That's great. They do. They got fantastic popcorn.
Mm.
So the tunnel
To
that
Toontown.
goes into Toontown, did you recognize that tunnel?
Oh, that's the tunnel from Back to the Future.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
it's the
is. Yeah.
Mulholland Tunnel, I think, in
I
California,
believe so. Yeah.
LA.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I
It's
saw that and I'm like, I know that tunnel. I know that tunnel.
you can't miss it.
No, no.
No,
I need to go
it's a great
visit that
tunnel.
tunnel sometime. I've not
I
seen
think
it.
we went through it whenever we did LA. I want to say we went through it when we
Hmm.
did LA, because we went up to I think it's on the way to the Griffith Observatory, and that's where we passed through it. But it was late at night, so
Hmm. Hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't remember. But that was a few years back. I'm pretty sure we went through it. If it's the same one, it might be a different one. I mean, yeah, there's tunnels, there's mountains everywhere, there's tunnels. They have those tunnels all over the place.
Yeah,
But
they
that one is
probably.
definitely like distinctive for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to think it was. I'm pretty sure it's Back to the Future. It's
Oh,
got
that's
to
the
be.
Back to the
It's
Future
got to
one for
be.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
it's, you know, they're all using the same backlots and
Oh, sure.
everything.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
filming locations. It's
Exactly.
Zemeckis. I'm sure he's got preferred
Oh yeah. He's
locations.
like,
He was
hey,
like,
I
I
got an
know a
idea.
tunnel.
I know. Yeah. I know it's. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. We just used it
absolutely.
last. I think didn't BGF2 came out.
It was 89 and 90.
Was it
I think.
89? Okay. Okay.
So he
Well,
did
then
this
maybe it was the other
between
way
Back to the
around.
Future and the sequel series that came after.
He did this, and then he was like, okay. I know what we can use for this hoverboard scene. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Because they spent like, I think they spent like 2 or 3 years making this movie, and so he was working. I'm sure he was working on other stuff too. I don't know
Oh,
while he was
sure,
like
sure.
just
Yeah.
doing this, but like these are like his big things. You know, like Back to the Future, Roger Rabbit,
Hmm.
and then
Hmm.
finished out the trilogy, and then I don't know, he
Hmm.
disappeared. I can't remember what else he did.
No, Forrest Gump. He did Forrest Gump. What are you
Yeah,
talking about?
that's true.
I guess it's great.
Yeah,
Still doing good movies.
yeah. He did something recently. I can't remember what it was. I was like, oh yeah, Zemeckis. He's still around.
Hmm.
He's still
Hmm.
doing things. It was a pretty
Yeah,
decent one. I can't
yeah.
remember what it was though.
It was. I think it was the. Now it's escaping me. It had Tom Hanks in it, but
Uh,
I think it was a
oh,
Sully movie,
here.
wasn't it? Or was
The
it?
one where it's all filmed and the camera never moves and it's all filmed in the same location.
Oh no, that was it.
Yeah,
Yes, that
yeah.
was it. I haven't watched that one. I haven't watched that
I
one.
haven't
I
seen
need
it
to check
yet
that
either.
one out. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
looks good. Looks good.
Yeah.
Back to the tunnel.
Yeah.
I thought that was such a neat way to transition from the quote real world
Yeah.
to Toontown. Just going through a tunnel.
Yeah. Makes
I don't
sense.
know. I don't know. It's a simple thing to say, and whatever. But I thought it was fun. It was fun to watch them go through there.
Do you think they got any boundaries anywhere else, or is it just like it all exists within that tunnel? That tunnel doesn't actually go anywhere else. Like you
Yeah, I
go
don't
through the
know.
tunnel, you're in Toontown. That's the only way in and out. And then
Well, I
there's
mean,
no.
in that warehouse at the end, like
No, that's true. They
the
break
wall
through the
comes
wall.
down, and then
Yeah,
there's Toontown. So
that's true.
I don't know if that was like a hidden back door or something
Yeah.
that the judge had, made.
And
or
then I
whatever.
think there was like another scene where they were looking over the mountains and you could see like the sun or something came up over the mountains in Toontown,
Mhm.
and you could
Oh,
see it
yeah, yeah.
from
Yeah, I
like
think you're
LA
right.
or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was true. That's true. I don't know how that works. And how did Marvin Acme end up with? How did he own Toontown? Did he create Toontown? Is that what it is? Like, how is he the owner of Toontown?
How was that?
It
I
didn't
think he
explain
had
it.
to have, because I think it's implied that he created it. He had to have, because you see all the Acme stuff in like
Yeah.
cartoons, right? So
Yeah,
like
that's
it'd
true.
be logical for him to have his name on everything if he
Yeah.
created the town.
Yeah, he made everything. Was there
Yeah.
Acme stuff throughout the real world, or is Acme only used in cartoon stuff?
No, I thought that they had Acme stuff on like, I thought some of the crates and everything that were around there had that, but maybe those were just at the studios.
warehouse,
So I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not
because
sure.
all the stuff that was at the warehouse was all like when you opened it, it was all cartoon stuff
Mm-hmm,
that was inside there. Like the
Yeah.
singing sword, that was great. I don't know how you would
Oh,
ever
that's
use
I've
it.
got to know. I was just getting ready to say that singing sword was so funny. It was so funny.
It's a witchcraft.
Yeah, he starts singing Frank Sinatra. And he's like, "What is this thing?"
The most useless weapon ever, but so
And
charming.
Eddie looks out and he's just like, like throws the thing down. It's just so funny.
But then those black holes came in handy.
They did. I thought that last scene was, I mean, not only did it look great, it was fun to watch, but then like that scene with the sword,
Yeah.
when the weasels literally laugh themselves to death.
Yes, that was great. And that one's like pulling at it, like trying to hang on,
Yeah.
and just gets away anyways. Or the last one that as he dies, he's like, he flips a little switch and he says something. He's like, bye bye, and then like makes the thing come back around anyways.
Yes. Yeah.
That was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my favorite little weasel deaths.
Yeah. Those weasels were fun. They were fun.
Yeah.
They were good little villains.
Good foils.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Good little henchmen for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
I like that. I enjoy this. I like whenever they're like I think it was within the same scene, and like Eddie's doing the whole like juggling of the stuff, and kind of like doing his little rhyme and everything, and he's like, what does he say? Like, I'm bouncing off the walls. Without a gun, I'd have some fun, or with a gun, I'd have some fun, and I'd kick you in the. And then Roger screams out, "No!" nose.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
weasel's like, nose? That doesn't rhyme with walls. And he's like, no, but this does. And he gives him a little
Yeah.
kick. It was great.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
always one of my favorite spots. Yeah.
I the part that like really honestly creeped me out was when the judge is getting run over by
Oh,
the
yeah.
steamroller, and
It
you
pops
know,
up.
I'm like,
Wow, wow, wow,
oh my
wow.
gosh, that was like that was terrifying. I
As a kid,
mean,
yeah.
oh my gosh. Well, even now watching it, like seeing that, I was because I'd
Got
forgotten
some
about it. I'm like,
flashbacks.
whoa, this is creepy. Like that is really, really creepy. And then when he's like inflating himself, that was creepy. It was
Yeah.
funny,
It was
but
that was
it
pretty
was
cool. That was a
creepy.
good little effect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Except
yeah,
like watching it this time, I'm like, yeah, he kind of looks like a balloon, but then I'm like, he's also a cartoon, so
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But yeah, it was a good little effect. I enjoyed that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, that man, Christopher Lloyd just like nailed this villain character. It
Oh, he
was
did.
so much
It's
fun to watch. I don't know. After Robin Hood last week, I don't know if Christopher Lloyd does the better villain here or if it's
Alan
uh,
Rickman.
Alan Rickman, yeah, in Robin Hood is
Yeah.
Sheriff Nottingham. It's just two different. Like he's there. I don't know.
It's
It's
hard to
tight.
compare because
It's
one's like
tight.
more of a like
Campy.
well, yeah, exactly. Like the Alan Rickman is like there's funny parts and he does a fantastic job, but he's kind of serious.
Yeah.
This one, Christopher Lloyd's playing a cartoon
He's playing a
that
cartoon
is
character,
in
but
the body
he's
of
a
a
funny
of a
cartoon
human
character,
being.
but
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
that's it. Alan Rickman is playing a serious part
hmm,
and injecting some comedy.
yeah,
And Christopher Lloyd is playing a comedic part and injecting some sincerity, which
yes,
is it's hard. I don't know.
hmm.
I think I think I gotta give it to Christopher Lloyd on this one.
I
This
agree with
was
you.
it was just so much fun to watch him. Like he's got such like he's so cutting and
Hmm,
so just the way I don't know. I can't it's ineffable. I can't describe it. He
hmm,
you got to see it. He does such a great job with his character and like the pitch of his voice and like how he transitions out of that like serious judge character into
hmm,
the megalomania this just like insane crazy cartoon
yeah,
bloodthirsty character at the end with like can somehow turn his hand into a saw blade on an extension pole, which like whenever he
which
starts like flinging it and like making it
yeah,
get bigger and go out further and everything.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my god, that's like a superpower.
It was great. I mean, I after watching this, as much as I am a fan of Back to the Future, and even his role in Taxi is great. Like Christopher Lloyd is I think he's just an underrated actor. I really do.
Hmm.
Um, but I would put this up there as maybe his best performance. It's it's
Yeah,
really really good. It's really good.
it's pretty good. Yeah, best performance. Ooh, I don't know. Like, what about Uncle Fester and Adam's Family? That was a pretty good one.
That was good. Yeah.
That was pretty like yeah, you're right. Undervalued for sure. He's got some good ones throughout his career.
Hmm.
Um man, he well, I think what it is that he can define a character so well. And yeah, I don't know. You know what? I still think it's Doc Brown for me. I
Do you
still think
really?
it's Doc Brown. I think
Okay.
it's Doc Brown for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Doc Brown, that it clearly is the most iconic
Yeah.
character, I think, is Doc Brown. And clearly Doc Brown has the most heart, I feel like, of his characters that he's played.
He's got an arc to
I,
him as well
yeah.
throughout. But he's also got
I
three
don't know.
films to fulfill that arc.
Yeah.
If you look at
I
any
mean,
one film,
I'm not diminishing his portrayal of Doc Brown at all. Like or any of his other work.
yeah.
Um just watching this, I don't know. Just there is like If somebody came to you and said, Derek, we have a role for you. You are going to play a cartoon character that is masquerading as a human being. Go for it. How do you portray that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, at the time, I don't know. Like he's got years under his belt at this point,
I know,
like of,
I
of
know, I
playing all
know.
these different characters that
Yeah,
like he can pull that out. And
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. That's the genius of a good actor right there.
That's Chris Lloyd, man.
Yeah, Christopher
Yeah,
Lloyd. Yeah,
yeah.
Professor Plum in Clue. I forgot about that one. That was
Yes,
another great
yes.
performance.
Who was
Uh,
he? Suburban Commando. You remember that with
oh
Hulk
yeah, he
Hogan?
played like the
Yeah, he
dad
was
or
the
something.
dad. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
that was a fun one.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that's like I don't know. Yeah, great. I mean, yeah,
Yep,
great actor.
yep,
I'm gonna stick with Doc Brown, but only because he gets 3 films and has a great arc
yeah, yeah.
across those 3 films.
Mm.
If you give it to any one specific performance in any one specific movie, yeah, it's the Judge. Closely though, Fester. I really liked him as Fester Adams.
But Fester's over 2 movies, though.
But picking either one of the 2 movies, it's the second movie
Oh,
where
oh,
he
sure,
kind of
sure,
like
sure.
he or no,
Falls
the
in
first
love,
movie,
and
where
was it the first one?
he he starts out bad and he does the turn and comes back around to being their
Mm-hmm.
Fester.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I think that's the order for me. It's gonna if it's single movies, it's Who Framed
Mm-hmm.
Roger Rabbit, Adam's Family, and then Back to the Future 3, only because I like the Western aesthetic.
I Back to the Future 3 is, I don't know. It's not a popular opinion. It's probably my favorite of the trilogy. But
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
I would not say that is an unpopular opinion.
yeah.
I think that is the right opinion.
That's the right opinion. That's right. That's right. So you're also forgetting not as well heralded. Heralded is the wrong word. Not as popular of a movie, but he was the villain, another villain
DuckTales?
in DuckTales. Dennis
Yes.
the Menace was what I was going to say.
Oh, okay. I don't remember Dennis the Menace. Don't think I ever
Oh
watched that
yeah,
one.
yeah.
I think I watched it once when it came out, but I never really watched it.
Yeah,
I never really paid attention
yeah.
to it.
Well, she does a good job in that. I mean, there's like a
Yeah.
fart joke in there, which we talked about in the Knight's Tale episode. It's kind of like,
Nah.
yeah, kind of fall flat, but still Chris Lloyd.
All right. Well, he also played the villain in the DuckTales animated movie, Treasure of the Lost Lamp. He played the voice of the villain there too.
Okay. Okay.
All over the place. Yeah.
Man. Gosh. Good actor.
Formed our childhood.
Good actor. Yeah. There we go. Great movie. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah.
It's good.
If we had a Mount Rushmore for childhood actors, he's up there.
Sure.
He's definitely up there.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know who else we'd have up there. Maybe that'll be something that we can think
yeah, we could come up with our Mount Rushmore.
Who's your Mount Rushmore of childhood
just influences? Period. I gotta have Weird Al up there.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't know. I gotta think about that.
That's an episode to come.
That's an episode for sure. I like that idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that in the show notes. We're gonna have an episode for Mount Rushmore.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore, childhood influences. Yeah.
All
wow. Right. Thinking of episodes on the fly. Right?
That's right. Live. Here you go.
That's right. That's right.
Anyways, you got any final thoughts on Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
I don't think I can say any more. It's a good movie. It's a great movie.
All right.
It's great.
I enjoyed it. I got one last little thing that I thought was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? So all the actors that played voice parts, like major voice parts, like Roger Rabbit and Baby Herman and a couple others, were actually on set to read their lines and interpret the part the way that the performance, the way that they think they see it. And was Charles Fleischer, who played Roger Rabbit's voice. He came on set and they had him a costume to look like Roger Rabbit. Like he
That's
had the
awesome.
pants, he had like a
Yeah,
little fuzzy vest, and he had like was it a kanga hat with like the rabbit ears on it, like a white
mm,
fuzzy kanga hat with like
that's
white
great.
Roger Rabbit ears on it, and he was just bouncing around on set and being Roger Rabbit and everything in all the scenes. And there was an interview. I was watching one of these behind the scenes things, and they were interviewing all the different people about it, and they were talking about it. And the guy that plays by Baby Herman, he was like, "Yeah, I saw that," and I told them, I said, "I'm not showing up to set on it with a diaper on." I was like, "That is a comedian. I can
Yes.
appreciate that for sure."
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
That's great. Like I'm assuming, is he in like any of the actual scenes and they've just drawn over him, or
no, like the way
no?
they did
Okay.
it is they would first have the actors come in and they would run the scene with the actors all in place and the voice actors doing their thing.
Hmm.
And then they would run the scene again with puppeteers, like puppeteering uh puppets
Hmm.
of the characters. So like a Roger Rabbit that was made to be the actual size of Roger, but didn't really have much movement for a puppet. He kind of just like
Hmm.
a little limited movement on the arms, and then they would kind of like bounce him along. Um, and they would do the scene like that, so they have something to scale, and they'd run it a couple times like that, so the actors could get the eye lines down. Because if you notice, like Bob
Hmm.
Hoskins especially is really good at like looking directly at where Roger is when
Hmm.
he's talking to him and everything. And so they ran some of the scenes like that. And then they ran one final take, or however many takes it took, without either the actors or the puppeteers in place, running the scene with the different, like some things would be puppeteered, like the gun would float and then they'd animate
Hmm.
over it, or like whatever the wireframe stuff is that they'd have to like do to the prop stuff to make props move on the set and everything. And then they paint over it with the animation. But that's how they ran it. So they ran it in that progression so that the actors could first get used to acting in the scene with somebody, and then they
Hmm.
would act to a prop that represented the animated character in scale, and then they would act it without anything in there, and it would get animated
That way
over.
they
But
could
that's
just
how
draw
they
over it
got,
and not have to. Yeah.
yeah. And then that's how they
Wow.
got like good eye lines and everything. And Bob Hoskins was talking about that in one of the interviews. He's talking about how like in a lot of these things where they put animation in with live action, the people would be looking at the animated characters and you can just see that they're looking through them or past them, or their eye lines aren't meeting up just right. And he was like, the way they did it here, I had total confidence in exactly where I needed to look for my scenes, so that whenever they animated over it, I'm looking directly at Roger's face. And it was just amazing. And he was talking
Hmm.
about all this. And it is like it's amazing. His eyes line right up with Roger's, and like you completely buy into Roger being in the scene with him. And
Yeah.
the other cool thing that I thought was neat is not Bob Hoskins, Robert Zemeckis had Bob Hoskins train with mime performers. So he learned mime so that whenever he's doing these scenes without anybody in the scene with him, he could mime. He could grab Roger like by the neck and actually
Oh yeah.
mime that just right so they could animate into it, or like be
Hmm.
pulling Roger around or being pulled around by Roger. And so he went to like mime school for a little bit to learn
Wow.
how to work in the space, which I was just like,
That's,
this is incredible. Like the lengths they went to on this film are just
man.
incredible. But it shows, and that's kind of the point, is like they went through all this tremendous effort, like moving heaven and earth to make this movie basically, and it paid off
Hmm. Hmm.
in dividends. And
Yeah.
it works. It works great. It's I dare say timeless. Like it still holds up. It's still a great
Yeah.
movie to watch. Absolutely. Like we
Yeah.
look at some of these older movies that have like special effects in them, and you're like, I can kind of
Hmm.
tell. And I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you can tell. Like it's animated. Like it's going to stand out as animated. You're not going to get around
Sure.
that. That's just how that is.
Sure.
But the way they animated them, they gave them like a little bit of a 3D look. They kind of rounded things
Hmm.
over and gave it a little bit of a 3D look, a little bit of dimension, and then the way they put it in the film with the live action, it works, and it works great, and it holds up.
And see, I think that's the thing. Like, I think the theme, like the story of the movie, with it actually, the story revolving around tunes,
Yeah.
like it makes it more, like you're saying, timeless. It's not like they're just like throwing a drawing into some movie. Like,
Yeah.
when you've got cartoons as being the central focus of the movie anyway, like it I don't know. It's just it's a multi-layered thing that you're right.
Yeah.
It's just it's a timeless movie.
And the
It's
fact that
just
they took risks with the animation too. Like they
yeah.
didn't just film flat, stagnant scenes and then animate over that. There
Mhm.
was camera movement involved. Like the camera's moving, panning
Oh,
around,
sure.
and
Yeah.
animation is happening on top of that and keeping pace with it. And they're changing perspective within the animation
Yeah.
as well as within the shot is artistry at its
Mhm.
finest. It's, I mean,
Yeah.
that's just Disney magic at its finest,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had one more thing that I
Sure.
forgot about that I was it's real quick, but
No, go for
so the password that Eddie had to give when
it.
he went to the ink and paint club, did you notice what he said?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
It's Walt sent me. And it
That's
was
right.
obviously
Yeah.
it was just a nod to Walt Disney, but
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty neat that, Walt sent me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like nobody's gonna guess that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You're not gonna
Exactly.
crack that code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I had fun.
yeah.
Before we wrap this bad boy up, let me give you the icebreaker for next week.
Before you do that, hang on just a
Oh,
second. I
sure.
do have one comment
Oh,
from the week,
got a
and it was
comment.
on our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 episode. It was our buddy Will Ford. He
Back.
said, "Hey guys, congratulations on a year of great content. Like you guys said in the episode, I loved Secret of the Ooze better than TMNT1 when I was a kid. As an adult, I completely agree. It's not as good as the original film. And Ryan, you're not missing much if you ever get around to seeing the third film. That being said, Secret of the Ooze has my favorite bit of dialogue of any incarnation of Turtles. It's the scene where the three turtles are searching the junkyard for Raphael. Donatello says the perimeter's quiet, Leonardo. Yeah, a little too quiet. Then Donatello knocks 2 foot soldiers out and he says, "Well, that was easy." Leonardo says, "Yeah, a little too easy." Then Donatello says, "Look, it's Raph." And then Michelangelo says, "Yeah, a little too Raph." It makes me smile every time, is what he said. So thanks, Will. We appreciate the comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
know we were talking about Will a couple episodes and how we were mentioning some of the, I think, the Knight's Tale episode about how
Mhm.
he made the suggestion for that one. And we
Oh,
were like,
no.
oh, it's
Somebody
Fozzie
else made a
Guy.
suggestion. Yeah, Fuzzy Guy. Yeah, yeah.
Fozzie Guy,
Anyway,
that's right. Yes.
yes. Yeah.
So I just wanted to kind of apologize to Fozzie Guy. We didn't realize that Fozzie Guy was the one that was in the chat that we were talking with because
Hmm.
his name came up different. It did not
Hmm.
come up as Fozzie Guy. It came up
Right.
as like, I think his actual name was what was coming up. And I think
Hmm.
that's because like in YouTube, you have like your name and then you have your handle. And for whatever
Yeah.
reason in the chat that we only see the name, we don't see your handle. And so
Hmm.
we only knew Fozzie Guy from his handle because whenever we look at the comments, it just shows your handle. So it's
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of this like YouTube's got some weird
Yeah.
disconnect things, and that's one of them. And so I just want to apologize, Fozzie Guy. We realize now that that was you in the comments, and
Yes.
thank you, and we appreciate you, and we
Yeah,
you
we
too,
do.
Will Ford. We appreciate you, and all of our fans, and anybody that's willing to write into us and carry on this conversation with us. We greatly appreciate it, and look forward to reading more comments from everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So, icebreaker question for next week.
Yeah.
What was the first thing you remember collecting? Now, I want to be specific here. Not specific. I want to be clear. I'm not talking about the first thing you got that ended up in a collection of things. I mean, what's the first thing you remember actively going out and collecting? Like you went out with the purpose and the intent of fulfilling a collection of these particular items. There was a set of things that you wanted to complete. You wanted to get all of them. You got to collect all the Pokemon. Like what was it? What was the
Mm-hmm.
first thing you remember hunting down, going for to be a collection of? of things. And that could have started with something that you just happened across or got as a present or
Yeah.
whatever, but then turned into a passion of collecting. Like, what was the first thing you remember? Actively collecting. And
Okay.
we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
When we come back. Favorite thing to collect. I kind of like this one. Anyways, thanks for all your support, your comments, your likes, shares, thumbs up, heart emojis, all that fun stuff. Remember, keep those tokens handy. I've been Derek, my brother Ryan. This podcast takes tokens. I'll get it right one day. Be kind and rewind, and we'll see y'all next week.
That's all, folks. This Podcast Takes Tokens is a Clay Street production.